Alright, let's go. I'm a little bit excited here, as the PTB dropped today. And I have already watched a few clips of this killer online. That, for example, I would have thought would have been hit, but that's what we're here to figure out now. Ooh, what a sweet triple hit. We're going to be playing against bots because, well, the whole PTB thing has a little bit of longer queue times than usual. And we're just going to be playing around with our power a little bit. I threw together a build that I think would serve well when it comes to seeing auras. That was by coincidence, by the way. Totally not planned. And it's so cool to play this killer. I love the design. I love the music he has in the menu. So far, it seems to be a very nice chapter. I threw on some add-ons that should help with learning the killer. The brown add-on just gives us killer instinct whenever we miss someone. That should show us whether or not we were close. And the other add-on just makes our zealous mode, which is kind of like a stronger power mode, last a little longer. So, a few things I haven't quite figured out yet. So if we cast it, the beam does move in the direction of the line, but not always. For example, here it kind of went off track. Not this time. So we pointed the line at the tree, but it went towards the Jinn. So we'll figure it out. And here we can see our perks come in beautifully. So whenever we have a person that is the obsession outside of our terror radius, we'll see their aura. And if they're inside our terror radius, or closer than 40 meters, someone else becomes the obsession. And with Nemesis, we can see their aura for longer, and with Lethal Pursuer, we can see them for even longer. I think this is going to be such a nice build, especially to start with this killer. But for now, let's see how we can play this. What a sweet double hit. Nice. This killer is so fun. So fun. And I've seen on YouTube that the Exile is kind of this little map of itself. We've had that in past events already, like Haunted by Daylight or so, when there was a void that you could enter and either pick up little pumpkins or whatever. We've had those things before. And as you can see, this killer is going to be so strong when it comes to preventing unhooks or giving the people unhooking hits, protecting generators from afar. I think it's going to be quite easy to protect something such as a totem and then just keep the people off gens. So it does have a really long travel time. We've just accidentally ended this match already, so I think we can just pull into the next one, just after we see this Mori.
I shall expunge your
They did such a good job on her design. And the eye that opened itself in the Mori kind of reminded me of the final form of Mother Miranda in Resident Evil 8. Feel free to share if you also think that way. If there is such a thing as a charge-up period. I've heard of it, but does it end at the exact end of the line? Let's see. So what we want to try out here is to get them in between the line. Let's get them in the line exactly. Yeah, that was not a hit. Let's get him into the line exactly. Okay, that was a hit though, but was he behind the line? I'll have to rewatch that in the footage. Okay, perfect. That was a perfect showcase. So he does not... Let's see how far that extends. If he is just at the end of it, whether or not that would hit. Yes, it would. Where do you get down? Okay, just at the end of it. Alright, that's perfect to know. So, it's very intuitive. The thing always follows the line, and at the end of the line, it starts to be damaging. The last question remaining would just be, how far can it reach? And this, of course, is perfect. Look at it. You can basically check 2 gens in one go. And imagine you can charge this up from here and protect those 2 gens at the same time. I think highly skilled players will be able to do some very nice stuff with this. Exciting times. I'm so excited for this killer. I'm a bit in love. Let's see whether or not that stays. They're healing over there. Let's interrupt that. Perfect. Let's get them into our exile. Yeah, with this brown add-on I can immediately see if the gen is being worked on or not. Sweet double hit right there. Let's see if we can get that cross-map snipe. Oh my god. Wow. That is nasty. I like the little staff. I think the contrast between the clean white, whatever that material is trying to be, maybe marble, maybe some ivory, whatever it is, and the blood is such a nice contrast. Ooh. It's insane how one can deny these loops with that little effort. Alright, look behind one, and then pull it to the front. And I guess that's quite simple. Let's see if that can be consistently used. I think faking the power will also be an aspect of it. So leading it in one direction and then immediately flicking or pulling it back. So survivors seeing the beam will be kind of bamboozled into thinking they don't have to dodge. Alright, they're healing. I think that is the most dangerous situation for survivors. Whenever they're healing, they're really vulnerable to her attacks. And this is so fun. This is so fun. It's very empowering to know that one can deal out many hits over the entire map. That's just a very powerful premise. And I think the fact that the killer is a little bit more difficult to control is the perfect balance for that. And so far, the perk combo has been really useful. There's also one more thing I have not quite shown you yet. That being her quick Mori, but we'll get to that later. And with later, I mean now. I would love to edit that rust crunchy sound over that. I'll do that just so it's done. I love the premise of Vecna, and the low cooldowns just make it that much more pleasant. And with this killer, it is the exact same. Of course, it's different handling, but the idea behind it is very similar, and I love that about it. That is just my exact type of killer. And so far, there were barely any killers that were like this. Nice. And that is gay.